자, 생사몽, 자주포의 선도자. 자, 이거 앞전에 1차 대전 이벤트 맵, 거기에 나왔던 장비 아닌가? 1차 세계대전 발발 후 세계 최초 전차가 등장했습니다. 적의 참호를 돌파하기 위해 만든 이 장비는 적에게 공포의 대상이었지만 동시에 완성도는 아주 떨어졌습니다. 이에 따라 전차가 갈 수 있는 완벽한 형상과 최적의 설계법을 찾아내는 데는 많은 시간이 걸렸습니다. 그 과정에서 다이아몬드 모양의 궤도를 가진 전차나 자주상자 등 정말 특이한 장비들이 탄생하게 되었습니다. 봅시다. 렛츠고. 뭔가 애벌레 기어가는 것 같다.
At the height of the First World War, the world witnessed the first ever combat tanks. The armored giants made for breaching enemy
돌파를 위해
fortifications were
만들어진
sowing fear.
거인들.
But at the same time, they were incredibly clumsy.
전함.
It would take their creators a lot of time to find the perfect shapes and optimal design
개발자들은
solutions. In the
최적의
meantime,
모양을
creative
만들겠다.
processes would sometimes give birth to truly peculiar machines, like giants with diamond-shaped tracks, self-propelled armed boxes, and others. Great Britain was the first to introduce tanks into regular service.
그렇죠. 영국이
With France
최초로
following
만들었죠,
suit.
전차.
The Republic
바다의
didn't limit
함선.
itself to developing its own combat vehicles. It also established domestic production. For instance, the Saint-Chamond was one of the most mass-produced tanks of the period, bearing the name of the manufacturing commune. It
진짜
was
배달
designed
맞다.
as an armored and well-armed combat vehicle with an ability to cross trenches and ditches. Its main advantage was going to be a long-barrel
75mm. 야,
75mm
이때는
cannon.
엄청
The
대국인
task
같은데.
of putting it inside the tank was given to one of the gun's creators, military engineer Émile Rimailho. Unlike his later counterparts, he had to quite literally put the cannon inside the tank. The field gun had to be fit whole, together with its mount. The barrel was sticking out in the front of the hull, while the rest of the machine was something like a superstructure. The cannon was a major trait of the tank,
지금으로
but
보면
it had
구축
other
전차
advantages as
느낌이죠,
well.
그죠?
The engineers used
보니까.
a gasoline electric transmission from a rail car that allowed for equal speeds when moving both forward and in reverse. A top speed of 12 kilometers an hour
야,
may
12
seem
킬로
laughable
속도.
now, but back then it was twice as fast as the British diamond-shaped model.
다이아몬드 형보다
At
두 배는
least
빨랐습니다.
in theory. Practice was much less straightforward. The Saint-Chamond would often dive nose first into the ground, since a part of its hull protruded far beyond the tracks. The vehicle was supposed to cross trenches and ditches, paving the way for infantry, but instead it would often get stuck on small bumps before it could get to the front lines. Of course, this fact couldn't help
그치,
but
레일이
ruin
너무
its
작다.
reputation. What's the point of a
궤도가 조금 더
machine
길어질
that would
것 같아.
rather get stuck on the road than aid in combat? Besides, the German army quickly found ways to counteract armored vehicles by adding cannons to their positions and surrounding them with special moats. The mobility problems made the vehicle perform poorly, even as an SPG. Nevertheless, a tank is a tank, meaning it's still armed and armored. In some sense, the Saint-Chamond
탱크는
was the
탱크다.
precursor
네.
of tank destroyers and self-propelled guns. More
그쵸,
specialized
자주포
and
같네, 그
advanced
자주포.
designs that tried
아,
to fit
자주포네,
the most
구축
powerful
전차.
gun available into a turretless hull. French engineers learned a good
탱크
lesson from
destroyer.
that tank. In 1917, France was the first to introduce a classic tank into service, the turreted Renault FT-17. They also made something special for breaching fortifications, the Char 2C landship. It was finished too late for World War I, but by that time, it was already clear that a tank must have a turret.
포탑이 있어야 된다고 생각했다. 이제 회전해야 된다. 끝.